Welcome, my divine gentlemen. I'm Tori, your host, and this is In the Glow. If you are ready to upgrade your style, refine your presence, raise your vibration, and embody true masculine energy, you are in the right place. Tonight, we will be discussing emotions, desire, and focus. Ever since childhood, we have been corrected and told to stay silent, to sit still, and to never question things. I need to remind you that you are not here to try and manifest anything. You are not here to observe reality. You are here to command it. Let's discuss thought. Your thoughts don't just live inside your head. Thoughts are not passive and they are not invisible. It's not even in the way you've been led to believe. Thought is energy and it vibrates, it radiates, and it reaches like electricity through a wire. Your thoughts don't stay inside you, they are shaping the fabric of your reality without your permission. And quite often, without your awareness. The world isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. And your thoughts are not whispers, they are blueprints. You've experienced this on days when you woke up anxious and everything felt off, or the time you walked into a room and the energy shifted. But if thought is this powerful, why is it that more people don't use it consciously? And I think it's because the reality is that most aren't thinking, they're just looping repeated, inherited narratives, fears, and worst of all, borrowed desires. They base their life on what the world told them to want or fear. And they are almost like recycling, repeating patterns. And they start to wonder if this is how life is. But the moment you stop treating thoughts as chatter and you begin to treat it as commands, your life begins to shift and you begin to step into the space where reality is shaped. And not later, not with force, but through alignment. And you start becoming the frequency that makes it inevitable. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you consistently are. And you start to notice what tone you wake up with. And you become sensitive to the emotional charge behind your desires. Soon, you notice that reality bends in small ways and delays disappear, resistance fades, and you begin to notice that your inner state is no longer a secret. It is reflected in your conversations, in your health, in your timing, and in your every outcome. You no longer live waiting for permission or signs. You don't look for validation. You begin to sculpt the day deliberately. You recognize that you are the signal. Your mind has been held captive, and not with chains, but with noise and conditioning. You have been told what to admire, and you have silenced your voice, and you have accepted crazy narratives. The good news is you are not your moves. When you begin to live from the I am, that I changes everything. And you no longer panic when fear arises. With every breath, every decision, every moment of awareness, you learn to direct your energy. This is when you begin to ask, who is thinking this thought? And you create space. And in that space, sovereignty is born. I'm not referring to becoming cold or mentally distant. I'm simply talking about becoming deliberate. It's about choosing your mental environment with the same care that you choose your relationships. You stop holding on to doubt and you stop entertaining guilt. Let's discuss emotions, shall we? You shouldn't fear your emotions. You shouldn't treat them like flaws or malfunctions, and you should not hide them. I sure hope that you don't medicate them. Your emotions are not obstacles, they are raw energy waiting to be shaped. Anger, fear, shame, these aren't signals that something is wrong with you. They are invitations, signals of untapped power, unprocessed truth. Emotional regulation is the gateway to real freedom. And freedom is the one thing that systems can't sell or control. Emotional alchemy begins when you stop asking how to get rid of the uncomfortable feelings and you start asking what they are made of. For example, fear at its root is perception sharpened by uncertainty. Anger is love poisoned by injustice. And most people repress and explode. They avoid emotional discomfort as if it were a disease, not realizing that avoiding it is what gives it power. When you suppress a feeling, you don't neutralize it, you amplify it. You send a deeper meaning behind it. And you push it to your subconscious where it begins to shape your thoughts and it begins to shape your choices, your frequency. The feeling doesn't disappear, it begins to vibrate below the surface, sending out signals. And you are not even aware that you are transmitting this. And this is why your emotional state matters more than your intentions. You can visualize success, speak affirmations, repeat mantras, but if your dominant emotional frequency is fear or lack, Those words are static. The signal doesn't get through. Reality doesn't respond to what you pretend to feel. It responds to what you actually are. And your emotional state is the charge behind your thoughts. It is the power that fuels your signal. And when you master it, you don't just feel better, you become a generator. So, how do you transmute it? First, you have to observe instead of judging. And I'm not saying analyze, I'm simply saying you must observe. You feel fear arising in your chest? Observe. You don't label it. If you feel failure, breathe. Just watch it. And again, don't label it. You hold the space. You say, this is energy, and I will not be ruled by it. This is where anger becomes clarity, and grief becomes depth. Shame turns into humility. And the more you do this, the more that your emotional body begins to trust you, it stops erupting and it begins communicating. And you become not a reactor, but a refiner. And I know that there will be days where feelings will be hard, where you might feel your chest tighten, but that's not a weakness. That is simply old patterns trying to return. They're loops, but now you're awake. And now you know that every time you sit with a difficult feeling without reacting, without outsourcing your power, you are breaking a chain because you're choosing evolution over survival and creation over reaction. And you don't fear emotions, you don't suppress them, you redirect them. And over time, this becomes instinct. And you don't fear emotions, you listen to them. And you don't suppress them, you redirect them. And lastly, you were not born to be still. You were born to want. And not from emptiness, but from remembrance. Your true desires don't arise from insecurities, they are echoes of what your soul already knows that is possible for you. And when you align, the universe doesn't hesitate and it rearranges itself and desires become magnetic. That's the key. And most people desire out of panic. They want money because they fear poverty, or they want love because they fear loneliness. And they want fame or popularity because they fear invisibility. And the signal that they send is not the desire, it's the fear beneath it. And that's what the world responds to. So they struggle and they hustle, but their reality remains unchanged because the frequency has not shifted. This is why it is important to tap into the true desire, the desire that comes from clarity and not desperation. Because when you get to that level, you become unstoppable. When your thoughts carry conviction, your vision isn't hopeful, it's anchored. And you're not trying to manifest, you're not trying to get something, you are calling it into place. There's no begging in this energy, and you are not holding tightly to it. You are in alignment. And alignment is what bends probabilities. But that is all for me. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, share it with others. Comments or questions? Let's talk about it. Los quiero mucho. Besitos y adiós.